officer in charge of this facility, the Archives Unit, and Dominica Library and Information Services, officer in charge of overall. Mr. Prince Senna.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let us bow our heads. The words of this famous song says, Lord, we thank you for sunshine, we thank you for rain, we thank you for joy, and we thank you for pain. But today we are thanking you for joy in this book presentation by Mr. Clement Richards. We ask God's continued blessings upon him and his works, and that he may write many more books that keeps us abreast of our own cultural heritage. Let us join in saying the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant. Please remain standing so that we may sing the first stanza of the national anthem together. I'm of beauty, I'm of splendor, I'm to all so sweet and fair. All must surely gaze in wonder at thy gifts so rich and rare. Rivers, valleys, hills, and mountains, all these gifts we do extol. Healthy land, so like all fountains, giving cheer that warms the soul. Thank you. Be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Darrell Bob. I'll be chairperson this morning for proceedings here this morning. And we are here to witness the donation of Seawolves in Warm Waters and overview. Donation to 10 secondary schools, each receiving one book. And to the State College will also be receiving a book. I would imagine that the institutions are representing the persons of various persons here today. And at this stage, allow me to introduce Mr. Clement Richards, who is the author of Seawolves in Warm Water, who will share with us a brief overview of the book. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clement Richards.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bob, Chairman Bob. Can I sit?
Sure.
Much better for me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
And a special welcome and good morning to my friend here from the St. Martin's School. One of the interests I have as a writer, as a Dominican, as a cultural activist, is to pass on knowledge to the young generation. We always say how our children doing this and that, but when we ask ourselves, what have we taught them? How have we interacted with them? We didn't do much because we ourselves doing this and that. So I'm so glad you're here, and she's going to be an accountant. I hope she considers doing some writing as well. See, maybe I'll impress her enough. So good morning again, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about a story that is close to my heart, and one that I believe every Caribbean person, and more specifically, every adult person in Dominica deserves to know. On the night of February 15th, 1942, warm trade winds blew steadily across the Caribbean Sea. And in the waters of Aruba, the air smelled of oil and salt. Tankers rode at anchor outside the San Nicolas Harbor, one of the main harbors in Aruba. To the men aboard those ships, the greatest danger seemed to be boredom. Then, out of the darkness, a long grey ship of a German U-boat or submarine moved silently on the surface and began attacking the ships in the harbor. Within minutes, towers of flame erupted into the Caribbean sky. That was the moment when World War II reached the Caribbean. And this is where my second book, Sea Wolves in Warm Waters, begins. Like many others, I grew up learning about World War II as an European conflict, fought in the muddy trenches of France, in the skies over Britain, or on the frozen plains of Russia. But there was another front, closer to home, in our own warm waters, and it has been largely silent from the history books. This book is my effort to bring that story back to the surface. Between 1942 and 1945, German U-boats waged a relentless campaign in the Caribbean Sea. Led by Admiral Karl Donitz, commander of Germany's submarine fleet, he called it Operation Newland, literally an assault on a new land. He understood that the Caribbean was the engine room of the Allied war effort. The refineries in Aruba, Curacao, and Trinidad produced the aviation fuel that powered Allied aircraft. The oil tankers sailing out of Venezuela and the bauxite freighters running from then British Guyana carried the raw materials that kept the factories of North America and Britain in operation. Sink enough of those ships, the Germans reasoned, and you could strangle the Allied war machine. And for a time, it worked. In the early months of 1942, U-boats operating in Caribbean waters achieved a level of destruction that literally shocked war planners in Britain and the United States. In fact, it is Winston Churchill is reputed to have said that the war in the Caribbean was one of the things, the U-boat battle in the Caribbean was one of the things that kept him up at night. Hundreds of ships were sunk. Thousands of merchant seamen, including many from our own region, were killed or cast adrift in burning seas. The Allied response was slow, fragmented, and at times almost paralyzed by disagreement between Britain and the United States. And the Caribbean was caught in the crossfires of a war that our people had not started and for which we were all dangerously unprepared. My book tells this story from 4 interconnected lenses. The first is strategic. The book traces how Germany identified the Caribbean as a crucial vulnerability and how Allied planners scrambled to close the gap, building airfields, deploying convoy escorts, and eventually turning the tide through superior technology, intelligence, and coordination. The second is operational. The reader goes aboard both the U-boats or the submarines and the merchant vessels, following the cat and mouse drama of submarine warfare in our tropical waters, understanding how the campaign evolved from easy hunting in 1942 to increasingly dangerous territory by 1944. The third is humor. This is the aspect of the story closest to my heart. For behind the naval statistics, the tonnage sunk, the coordinates logged in German war diaries, were real people. Caribbean merchant seamen who signed on to tankers and freighters. Men from Dominica, Barbados, St. Lucia, British Guyana, and other locations. Men who had no choice but to to sail into waters they knew were dangerous. Their bravery and suffering and the subsequent invisibility in the official records of the war is one of the greatest injustices of Caribbean history. This book insists on their place in the story. They should be recognized and remembered. So let us take a moment to evoke one of these brave souls who died from Dominica. His name is Joseph Ira Charles, nationality Dominican, rank pumpman. The ship in which he died, the SS Punta Gorda, registered in London. Age 33 years. Date of birth 18th September 1944. Family, son of Conrad J. and Elizabeth Charles. I want to also use this occasion to invite those in authority to correct this omission. It does not require a grand gesture. Sometimes history can be moved forward by a simple sentence. I would therefore like to suggest that in future Remembrance Day speeches, there be added one line, one simple line, along the lines of, quote, "We also dedicate this remembrance to the merchant seamen from our island who perished in the Caribbean Sea during World War II." That is all. Just one line. A small change, but a deeply significant one, because it acknowledges that these men existed, that their service and sacrifice matter, and that the deaths is part of the Dominica story too, by extension, the Caribbean story. The fourth is legacy. The war left a permanent mark on the Caribbean, in the airports and deepwater ports that were built as military infrastructure and later became the foundation of our tourism and trade economies. In the communities that lost fathers, sons, and brothers to the sea, and in the collective memory that never quite honored their memory, because the Caribbean was always treated as a sideshow in somebody else's war. Sea Wolves in Warm Waters is my argument that it was not a sideshow. It was our war, fought in our waters, at our cost, with consequences that shape the region we inhabit today. It is time we reclaim that history for ourselves. Just to digress, how many people here realize that the tourism industry in the Caribbean was built on the foundations left by the Second World War? That the airport in Barbados, which is now Grantley International Airport, started as Sewell Runway, which was used during the Second World War. That the Heronora Airport in St. Lucia was actually built specifically for aircraft which were used during the Second World War and which later was handed over to St. Lucia. So just think of that. And that is why I wrote the book, Sea Wolves in Warm Waters, the U-boat battle in the Caribbean. The donation of copies of this book to the local institutions here is being made by the law offices of Gabriel J. Christian and Associates, LLC, based in Maryland, USA, in collaboration with the Rebuild Dominica organization. This initiative reflects a shared commitment to supporting education, strengthening historical awareness, and encouraging wider engagement with works by Dominican and Caribbean authors. It is anticipated and expected that this donation will help broaden student access to local and regionally relevant historical works, while encouraging greater use of books by Dominican and Caribbean authors within the education system. It is also hoped that this initiative will inspire greater interest among students in Dominica's place within the history of the Caribbean as well as global history. And just to let you know, Seawolves in Warm Waters is available now on Amazon in paperback and soon in Kindle ebook. After that, I plug. I hope it will find its way into schools, libraries, and living rooms across Dominica, the Caribbean, and beyond. Thank you.
According to the program, a video message was planned for we would see Mr. Gabriel Christian, who is the book donor. But for some reason, we do not have that video. But what we will do in any case is we will make mention of him. Just give a brief on Mr. Christian. Gabriel Christian is a Dominican-born attorney who currently resides in Maryland in the United States. He's also a published author, community advocate, and historian who has carried out extensive work on World War II and its Caribbean dimensions. His career spans the intersecting fields of law, literature, and public service. We want to say thanks to Mr. Christian.
Can give him a big round of applause.
And then we shall move to the next item on the program, which would be the book excerpt from one of our students from the St. Martin Secondary School. I do not have the name here with me, which is not good at all. You give him a name, you didn't give it to me.
Yes,
And your name is? Yolande. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me. Okay, you can stand right here.
Good morning. Excerpt from Seawolves in Warm Waters. World War II is frequently recounted through a familiar geography. The conflict anchored in Europe's land campaigns, the North Atlantic convoy battles, the Pacific Island War, and the climatic struggles on the Eastern Front. Within that framework, the Caribbean has frequently been treated almost as an afterthought, a warm backwater that was far removed from the decisive theaters of war. That assumption is misleading. Between 1940 and 1944, the Caribbean formed a critical logistical hinge in the Allied war effort. The region's oil refiners, tanker routes, ports, and airfields sustained operations across the Atlantic Ocean. When German U-boats entered these waters in force, they were not conducting opportunistic raids at the marines of the conflict. They were striking at the infrastructure that was made sustained industrial warfare possible. The result was a campaign that sometimes unfolded close to shore and within sight of civilian life. Ships burned near beaches. Harbor attacks violated long-lasting assumptions of safety. Survivors reached land carrying the war with them, offering to small communities where loss would not be abstracted. For the Caribbean, the U-boat war was not distant or theoretical. It was immediate and visible. This book examines the campaign as both military context and a lived experience. It traces how German submarine doctrine was applied in tropical waters, how Allied defenses allowed, adapted, and eventually prevailed, and how intelligence, convoy discipline, air coverage, and port security evolved under pressure. At the same time, it preserves the human dimension of the conflict, particularly the voices of merchant seamen and the civilians whose lives were altered by a war that arrived without choice or warning. The structure of the book reflects this dual purpose. Operational analysis is paired with intelligence context and survivor testimony. Short documentary quotations are embedded where they clarify intent, perception, or consequence. Source signposting is used throughout to indicate the documentary foundations of each chapter without interrupting narrative flow. The aim is not to dramatize events beyond what the record supports, not to reduce the campaign to Stone Age tables alone. Rather, it is to place the Caribbean U-boat war in its proper historical position. as a sustained battle with strategic consequences, regional impact, and a legacy that extends beyond the war years themselves. What Flows is a reconstruction of the conflict as it unfolded in real time, uncertain, adaptive, and costly. It is also an examination of how the region absorbed the shock of modern maritime warfare and channeled its ramifications into the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Quite impressive and fluent reading.
Can I just say, Mr. Chairman, I have to add my words to this. I mean, that was fantastic. And I think you have greater potential as a public speaker. And I probably need to look up for you in the political arena as you go along. We'll take it one step at a time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
In other words, he'll probably corrupt you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have the presentation of books to the Dominica State College and the secondary school. That will be done by Mr. St. Jean and Mr. Richards. Mr. St. Jean to my right and Mr. Richards to my left.
Okay, we're just going to pause Mr. Sejan from the front there. Let me just get the books. And what we'll ask you all to do is come up one by one and hand in the books and stuff, right?
We have a list of everything.
I'm not too sure. No, we don't have a list when you just. Can you just indicate who you are when you see the books? And maybe from the Ghanaian school. Yes, sorry.
Secondary school.
And I must say, one of the things that this is a very special lady because she's in fact going to do the acceptance speech for everybody, acceptance remarks. And it was really great that. Next. And you're from?
Dominica Grammar School.
That was my alma mater. Yes, thank you.
Northeast Comprehensive.
Well, I know that. Thank you for coming.
Wesley High School. Convent High School. Thank you. St. Martin Secondary.
Dominica State College.
Dominica State College. Nobody for alma mater, for each other.
So few questions of.
And women are here.
Okay, that's right.
Nobody for St. Mary's.
You have to accept only public school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, all right. Yeah.
Yes, I mean?
Yes, Cecil, come and try. St. Mary's Academy.
Okay, this one.
So there are two other schools, but no Wesley High
The
School.
West is there.
Wesley just picked up.
Castle Bruce.
Castle Bruce and Portsmouth.
Okay. So I guess you call them and we do that subsequently.
Oh, I can take my books. But yes, we will. Actually,
Yeah, they may be in next event.
okay, so we'll bring it for them. We'll bring it for them then, yeah? They love it. Okay.
Thanks a lot for that, Miss.
Okay, so that's it? No, what was the next thing, you know?
The acceptance remarks on behalf of the educational institution.
One last thing though, I don't say, when we finish everything and we go to the France and everything, I want everyone to line up there with the book and then they can take a picture of me. And,
Yes, ma'am. So it's your friend of ours?
Yes, and she's after English.
We welcome Ms. Brenda Bazzi from the English Department, Head of Fairchild Secondary School, to deliver the acceptance remarks on behalf of the educational institutions. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of my school, the Fairchild Secondary School, and all of the educational institutions here receiving copies of Seawolves in Warm Water, the U-Boat Battle in the Caribbean, I extend sincere gratitude to everyone who made this generous donation possible. We are especially thankful to Mr. Clement Richards for producing a work that highlights an important yet often overlooked chapter of Caribbean history. Through his research and writing, he has provided students and educators with an opportunity to deepen their understanding of the impact of World War II on our region and to appreciate the value of preserving our historical narratives. We also express our heartfelt appreciation to the law offices of Gabriel J. Christian and Associates, LLC, and the Rebuild Dominica organization for their generosity and commitment to supporting education and literacy in Dominica. Your donation demonstrates a belief in the power of books to educate, inspire, and broaden perspectives. Special thanks are also extended to Mr. Gabriel Christian for championing this initiative and to the Documentation Center for coordinating the distribution of these books and hosting today's presentation. As educators and representatives of the receiving institutions, we recognize the importance of providing our students with access to locally and regionally relevant resources. This gift will not only enrich our schools, libraries, but will also encourage students to engage more deeply with Caribbean history and the works of Dominican authors. Please accept our sincere appreciation for your thoughtfulness and investment in the education of our nation's young people. We assure you that these books will be put to meaningful use and will benefit our students in years to come. Thank you once again for this valuable contribution, and we wish the continued success to all involved in this commendable initiative. We thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bazzi. Very well done. At this stage, we will welcome again Mr. Prince St. Jean, officer in charge, to share with us a few remarks from the Dominica Library and Information Service.
Okay, thank you very much. For a moment, I thought you were for the schools and my speech. So, on behalf of the Dominica Library and Information Service, I would like to commend Mr. Clement Richards on his newest book. Mr. Richards' work integrates aspects of our history with those of the region and the world, providing a better understanding of historical global events. The mandate of the Dominica Library and Information Service is to provide citizens with accurate information while simultaneously fostering a literate generation. This book is one of the newest additions to this mission, demonstrating our contribution to historical events and the preservation of collective heritage. I also commend all our Dominican authors who, through their publication, keep our history, traditions, heritage, and progress alive, and inspire our youth to maintain consistency and continuity of our cultural identities. Congratulations again to Mr. Richards on behalf of the Dominica Library and Information.
Thank you, Mr. Sultan. Thank you. At this stage, we'd like to welcome Mr. Francis Richards, the brother of Mr. Clement Richards, to share with us the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Francis
All right. Greetings, everybody. Most persons may know who I am. I've been around for a little while. I presently reside in the US, but I never left. Every morning, Dominica. That's it. I'm in tune. I'm here for a very short time, and I'll tell you why in a bit. The reasoning is for, at this point in time, to do with my brother. So yes, the name is Francis Richards. I manage the National Stadium for, I'm the first manager of the stadium actually, from 2007 to 2013. So most persons know me for different things. Band, music lovers, careers, all kind of right? So yeah, so let's just see what I got kind of set up. Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on behalf of my brother, actually. That's the purpose of my being here, to give you a bonus dance. But I want to give you a quote from my favorite gentleman, Rosie Douglas. He says, you can either catch the vision, or you can catch division. Same word. I never forgot that. Catch the vision. So if you're going to catch the vision, not the vision, on the road. All right. So at this point in time, I want to just take the opportunity to thank, not necessarily in any specific order, the persons who contributed to this program. Yourselves definitely. So I want to go in the order I kind of jot it down very quickly. The documentation center, Mr. Prince Saint-Jean, who is officer in charge, so for allowing us this opportunity. I hope my turn will come not too long from now, I'll tell you why. The DNO, they're not here right now, but I know we have been in collaboration to get this book launched. DNO was very, very close to my brother to make this happen.
We're talking about Mr. Durand.
But
That's DNO.
That's DNO. Okay, so you represent Mr. Durand. Okay. So you know you're in the house. No problem. Definitely, Mr. Gabriel Christian, who is very, very, very close to me. Actually, I think he tried to call me now, but maybe it's too late. To make this happen, he's, as you know, he's an author of several books on about Dominica and other places as well. I think he may be heading somewhere to Africa right now. I think. Certainly, Miss Yolande Blaise. What do I have? Where is she at? Yes, St. Martin's School. Indeed, my brother said you are a budding author, budding. I heard possible politician. Okay, never know where it's going to go. Okay, catch the vision. So you got to go. Okay, Dominica State College, definitely. And this Dominica State College, what did we have? Whom do we have? State College. Do they have a name for that? No. Okay. All right. Then we have Miss Brenda Bazzi for the Fairchild Secondary School. We have from the DGS, Buchanan Hosford. Is that correct?
Buchanan Hosford, yes.
All right. DGS. Mr. Carbon for Westie Secondary School. Miss Carbon. Miss Carbon, sorry about that. I was just trying to jot them very quickly. Certainly, somebody of very great prominence here is Mr. Ferdinand. We go a long ways. I mean, this is our yard, our LACU. For those of you who have been listening to the LACU program on Sundays, that's our initiative. The LACU right there. We grew up. So I know Mrs. Ferdinand for a long time. So it's very distinguished right there. We have Miss from Convent High School, Mr. Andrew McCauley, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Right, indeed. Actually, it's very unusual, Mr. McCauley, because Convent High School, we have a male representative. This is interesting. It's very interesting. Indeed. Among all the
I've been there for 30 years.
Really interesting. We need to talk sometime. Yes, that's what I have for now. Did I miss anybody who presented? Oh, well, I didn't. Mr. Raymond. My apologies. I didn't have to down. I know you're distinguished. I mean, just the presence, but I didn't have it down there. So my apologies. And certainly, so for this 11 copies being distributed to 10 secondary schools, I think it's phenomenal. From what I've been talking to my brother about sometimes, that most authors don't take the opportunity to do just that. Just for me, a little plug for myself, I'm about to be doing a coverage of the music in Dominica from 1920s to 2000, 96 years of history I'm writing right now. Right? And that'll be another bombshell. And it certainly will have a place in documentation center, the library and everything else. Because from what I understand, it's unprecedented anyway. Okay, that's another story. As a final call to action for my closing remarks, my brother mentioned that his books are both available on Amazon. So again, a plug for him. You go out there and buy it and talk about it, and because sometimes the history of the Second World War sometimes gets lost, and people, what is that? That's a long time ago, right? But then what I'm finding out from my own research, the thread that goes all the way from Africa, all the way to the Kalinago, into our Kadas, into our Calypso, into our Zouk, into our Jinping, into our Bele, right now all the way to Bouillon. It's fascinating to see this happen. So there's a thread that goes through here. And so the history of the Caribbean, the history of the Second World War. And when I read the book, my takeaway from the book, I'm telling you, is what my brother mentioned earlier on. We go to Barbados, we go to Trinidad, we go to wherever, and don't realize that we're landing on a strip that was designed, that was facilitated because of the Second World War. Fascinating. People don't realize that, they don't know that stuff. Right? So the Bridgetown port, the Sewell, it was then Sewell at the time, Barbados, Trinidad, and all that stuff. So there's a direct link from the Second World War to now. And unless you understand, read the history of it, you don't appreciate it. So how can you tell the students, the younger ones coming up, of what happened? Okay, so I think it's very, very critical that we do that, and there will be more of that as well. My brother has other ideas of different books coming up. It's very, very critical. So, so once again, thank you very much for coming on his behalf and for everybody else, certainly on behalf of the Doc Center. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again sometime. Next time, we have to call for you for a different reason. Okay, so look out for that. Coming soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join us for this photo op. Yeah.
Yes, kind of line up there. Just let me have
With Mr. Richards,
Photo op, eh?
And just to tell people, we're doing a little different.